All right, daily ticker time to kick out the final hour of the show. Brought to you, as always, by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing Company. They gave us a little gift package the other day, and I felt like drinking all of them last night.
I'm wearing Pelican gear tomorrow, so don't.
Okay, you don't want to double up? You don't want to double dip the chip?
It's a little weird when we match.
That is true. It's presented by Pelican Brewing's Hard Hops Blackberry Hop-Infused Hard Seltzer, and experience your hops differently. We're talking NBA Draft with the homie, the man, Mike G. Rich. Mike Richman, host of the Locked On Blazers podcast, daily podcast, talking Portland Trail Blazers. Mike, where did you have Yang Hansen going in your mock draft, and how thrilled are you that he's going to be in a Blazer uniform next year?
Yeah, I had Yang Hansen at 47 on my big board where I map out the top 225 draft candidates every single year. His value slots right below Ryan Kalkenbrenner, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. This is a stunner.
Had you ever heard of him before?
Yes. So he had like a good combine. Like he played pretty well in the combine. So it was one of those like, hey, this guy played in the combine. And I said, okay, don't care. You know, like I knew his name though. I know. but sure.
Okay, so look, I caught the pod, did a great job. You're 100% right. We texted about it. I'm glad you said it. Like, they're swinging for the fences. They're calling their shot. But I need to ask you, I'm just sitting at a point. I understand there's probably another trade coming, and it has to involve one of the five centers. We know which two it won't. Explain the team building, or are you as confused as we are today with that pick?
Okay, I'm glad you gave me an out at the end. I can't explain the team building. I have no idea what they're doing. I would say this move in conjunction with the Drew Holiday trade are impossible to make sense of together, right? They have to be, you have to think about them in separate buckets. That doesn't mean either of them are right. They both could be wrong on separate accounts. But just if you want to think about them separately, the Drew Holiday trade says we're going to be good, we want to be good, and this draft pick says we believe in our development and our scouting, and because we're really good or something, we can develop this player even with a crowded roster in front of him, and then eventually it'll pay off because we nailed this pick so hard.
We're talking with the homie Mike G. Rich. Mike Richman, the host of the Locked On Blazers podcast, daily podcast. It's one of those picks, Mike, that you're not wrong. They put their nuts on the table, for lack of a better phrase, and said, like, this is it. Is this it for them, though? Like, is this their last stand? There's an ownership change that's coming in the next 9 to 12 months, or however long it's going to take. And I'm not saying you fire him if the guy has a bad 3 weeks of his first NBA career. But, like, from a scouting department, evaluating talent, I already had concerns about them going into the draft because I don't think they have a great track record over the last 3 years. And now you do this on draft night. Like, this kind of has to be it, right?
Yeah, I would say that this is not a group that has earned, like, the obvious benefit of the doubt, right? Like, I think they've been average to slightly below, right, in the places that they've drafted at. Based on where they've picked, they're probably about an average drafting team. If you're about average at it and then you make a completely outside the box pick, I think you put your reputation on the line. This is the type of move that either proves your scouting prowess or lays out the rope with which to hang you. Like that's how I view it. Certainly, like I even think, I don't know about the ownership thing, because the Drew Holiday trade seems to be, to me, a little bit odd, because it's like, okay, we're gonna win this. We're gonna win this year to, like, prove to the presumptive new owners or whatever that we're successful. And this trade says, like, we're gonna build for the long term and give ourselves a window. It's like, they're not, like I said, I think you can justify them on their own, but they're very hard to justify together. And considering the context of the team, it's just all very weird. It's all very weird.
What am I to make of their views of Donovan Clingan with this? Because Joe basically said if he was in the draft last year, Yang Hansen, they would have taken him, and they did, and they took Donovan Clingan, and now he's in the draft, so they take him at 16, even projected late. What are we to make of the organization's view of Clingan?
Well, I mean, Ryan Rupert was rated as a lottery pick when they had him too, and so was Chris Murray. So I am in the business of not trusting what they say on draft night. Yeah, I would say that if they were willing to make this move and this pick, if he was the guy, it suggests that they really believe in him. to the point where if you would like to offer them, some grace here, you say you believe in them that this is a starting caliber player in the league, and that's a good problem to have, right? Because you want to draft talent. If you don't want to give them grace, you could say, why did they draft a backup? Or you could say, why did they draft a backup in the previous season at 7? It's I don't know. I just don't know what to make of it. I don't think I know enough about Yang to feel comfortable with this pick. And everyone else who does this professionally is like, wow, this is a shocker.
Well, people don't like fence sitting, but I said yesterday, I'm like, I got to wait. I'm giving an incomplete on the Drew trade. I understand the negatives of it. I understand the perspective of leadership and, established veteran who's won. I get both sides of the argument. I wanted to see what other moves they were going to make and then assess and say whether I like it or not. That pick, and then Joe, I thought, my takeaway was, Chauncey said the big P word at the end of the season, playoffs. And then Joe last night was like, playoffs, we hope we get better. I think Joe kind of tempered the playoff expectation a little bit last night. So it just makes it more puzzling. And I think, in fact, right now, even without a trade having happened with somebody, it kind of makes the Drew trade look worse.
Yeah, I don't know how you trade for Drew Holiday and then say, like, yeah, we hope to be, if we make the playoffs, that'd be great, but we can be patient. He's 35 years old.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't, you can't do both. You cannot do both. I think the way to judge the Drew Holiday trade is if this was a move, you don't make that move if you're not trying to win. I can understand maybe not publicly saying that you're trying to win, but your moves have to reflect that. And this move didn't reflect that. So, like, again, you cannot take what they've done this week in conjunction with each other and make logical sense of it. You can offer hope that they make sense in two different directions, but you can't there's no way to logic this out.
On that note, we're talking with Mike Richman, host of Locked On Blazers daily podcast. Go find it wherever you find your podcasts. They have 5 centers on the roster right now, and I think we're all under the assumption that some of these guys are going to get traded. But I also did that at the guard position for the last couple of years. Like, hey, they used back-to-back draft picks on guards. They're going to trade Anthony Simons, right? And then they didn't. Then they had Malcolm Brogdon, and there just was a total logjam at that position. Now they finally have traded Ant, but in return brought in another guard. Can you make sense to me how the center trades go down? Like DeAndre Ayton, I believe, is on an expiring deal, making north of $30 million a year. Usually expirings are attractive, but I don't see Portland being super excited about bringing on a big contract in return. They just did that with Drew Holiday. Williams hasn't stayed healthy ever in his career. I don't even know if he has a healthy leg left. Like, who's taking that on? I have a hard time seeing where the pathway is. Do you just let him play it out, let Ayton walk in free agency, but then your new 16th overall pick's not going to play a single second? Like, how do you parcel through that in your mind?
Ding, 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 ding. Like, yeah, what do they do? What do they do? It's like the way that you trade expirings is you take on money, the way they traded Ant and took on some money, right? You say, okay, This is a talented player in Drew Holiday, but the back half of this contract's a little onerous. That's the value. Are they going to do that again? Are they going to play that out again with DeAndre Ayton, except at like the $40 million bar? I don't know. I don't know what you do. Like, I think there's a world where they're a little bit better this season, but at what sort of developmental costs are they a little bit better? And if they're not a little bit better, have the moves they've made inform it being okay if they're a little bit worse? I remain here that, we're not even through the entire draft. There's obviously a lot of things to go. And I think like in both of our worlds, we have to react to stuff in real time and then be like, oh, well, that makes more sense. Yeah. This better make some sense, right? This better make some sense. I feel like if you have me back on July 15th and we're like into Summer League, if it's still incredibly puzzling, I think the period of offering grace for like, well, maybe they're going to figure it out is over. Like, I think this is like in the next 2 weeks, the sort of direction, roster clarity, all that stuff needs to be pretty clear, or then you just it just feels muddled. And like, how much further do you want to go with everything feeling so muddled? It's just a new version of muddled.
Yeah. Joe looked good though last night, didn't he? Looked pretty in shape. Shirt looked good. I thought he looked good last night.
I can't pull off that shirt. My nipples are too big.
Yeah, I do think he looks like he's been able to take advantage of a long time without having to attend NBA basketball games.
He's got a lot of time to work out in his free time. Has there ever been a bigger spotlight? Maybe this is a dumb question, but I don't care. Has there ever been a bigger spotlight on a guy when Summer League kicks off than how this cat Chinese Jokic is going to look on night one?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be popular, I think, if nothing else. I do feel like if this dude was taken 35th in the draft, I would be on this show. Well, you probably wouldn't have me on to talk about a second-round pick, but you know what I'm saying.
No, we were going to. No matter what, we were going to.
Yeah. We love you, Mike.
Yeah.
but I would be kind of hyped about his like player profile, right? He's like a big, slow dude with awesome passing chops who's gigantic, broke into the Chinese league as a teenager. He was kind of like found by the sort of Chinese basketball world as like a third grader. They're like, yo, this guy's going to be the next guy. If they had taken him at 35, I'd be kind of all in. I'd be like, yes, I can't wait to watch him in Summer League. I can't wait to see him do fun stuff. But at 16, it's like, wow, whoa, what is this? Like, I feel like some of it is just the level of investment in him. There's pressure to get it so right. While the rest of the world will not notice my man Yang at Vegas, boy, will our little corner of the country be dialed in on how productive he is.
So we're going to be Yang banging this season, right?
Oh, yeah. I think, we're going to have to all agree on what we call him and this is a challenge with Chinese nationals, because I don't think the Western brain can wrap our head around what we're supposed to call this gentleman. So, yeah, I'm excited to come up with a nickname. Am I part of the Yang gang and going to be Yang banging? We'll see. But I'm open to the idea.
I also wanted to apologize publicly for just randomly showing up at your house. I think I made your wife uncomfortable, and that was a mistake by me.
That was the same day you showed up at my house.
Yeah, what was
you
it?
said, I got to go to Richmond's. I said, why are you randomly showing up at Mike Richmond's house, dude? You don't just show up unannounced.
Well, I don't think I had talked to him since I did that.
Don't be that
and
guy.
I didn't even see him that day, so it was like, oh, hey.
How uncomfortable was that, Richmond?
Should we provide context or just leave it there? That Sprague showed up at my house and made my wife uncomfortable.
I think we just stop it right there.
Was there peering going on? Was he looking in windows?
He's got me, guys. It was a great chat.
I heard noises. I didn't peer. I just stood on the doorstep, and I'm like, I'm going to be patient, not be a weirdo.
Okay, all right. Mike Richman, he's the host of the Locked On Blazers Daily Podcast, and you can go find it wherever you find your podcasts. You're the homie. Always great chatting with you. Things are going great in Rip City, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, everything makes sense. Appreciate you guys.
There you go, Mike Richman, the homie. Pelican Brewing Hard Hops presents today's Daily Ticker. Discover Hard Hops Blackberry Hop-infused hard seltzer and experience your hops differently. Deep breaths, everybody. Deep breaths.
Yang bang, baby.
I mean, I'm genuinely asking the question, like, you did this to me for 2 years, and you ended up being right, and they finally did it.
What is it?
But I had a lot of the, like, they have to trade Ant, right? And you would always retort to me and be like, no, they don't. And I'd be like, but they
finally did.
They finally did. They finally, I mean, you were right.
I was right for a while.
They should have traded him 2 years
ago.
They're going to
trade. They're going to make a trade with one of the centers.
How does it work? Explain it to me.
I'm not the general manager.
I just
you think they're really going to go into the season with 5 centers?
So I just am trying to think this out in my head. Trading DeAndre Ayton doesn't make sense because you have to bring salary back
it's not
on.
Ayton. Rob Will is hurt, and WAP is a G League guy.
So
maybe it's. Oh, I guess Rob Will might be the guy.
Robert Williams.
He's not going to play.
When's he going to be healthy? How long's he out for?
That's for another team to figure out. I don't know.
What are you trading him for? Why would anybody trade for him?
You really think they're going 5 centers?
I mean, does any of this make sense?
Sandwich bet? But we have a listener really upset that we don't like the pick.
Yeah, I'll sandwich bet it.
You think they have 5 centers?
I'll say. I think 4. Can I do it over under
4.5?
Yeah, because they'll send Duop Reed down to the G League. That's their answer. Like he won't be
go
on
back and forth.
I will. Let's sandwich bet that Klingon, Chinese Jokic,
yes,
DeAndre Ayton, and Robert Williams are not traded on opening night.
I'll sandwich bet that.
Okay.
I think we got 3.
You think we got 3 of them?
I don't know which one the 3 are. I know 2.
Somebody's on the way out.
Yang Bang and Klinger, but it's between Ayton and Rob
Which section of Moda Center will the Yang Gang be in?
We have to have a section, right?
Yeah. There'll be a section for the Yang Gang.
I argue you should put the Yang Gang in the Sprite Rip City row.
Ooh. That's just one row, though, right?
Oh, I mean,
I need a whole section.
Yang Gang. You want a whole section?
I want a section of Yang Ganging.
I'm going to tell you right now, They make that jersey, whatever that cat chooses number-wise.
Yeah, do we have a number yet? Have they announced that yet?
I haven't seen. That's usually at the introductory press conference when he
That's
gets
going to
over here.
be
Is there a number that he chooses that gets you more excited about the pick?
certainly if he's like, what's a number that's
What if he
really
asked for 23?
I might be all the way
47.
46.
AK-47. The Chinese AK.
53. Like what?
Yeah, there's got to be a number that's really nondescript. You're like, no,
62.
no.
What are we doing? Chinese Jokic? I have a better number than that.